So after you have typed in the correct server name, all you have to do is click on connect. I already have discussed about the server name, how you can find out the server name on your own machine. So refer to the previous videos if you're not able to find the server name. So we will click on connect. So as soon as we click on connect, an object explorer window comes up. So this window is nothing but it gives you all the information regarding various connections to which SQL Server you are connected. This being a local edition or a local SQL Server, it gives you the option of your computer name and the SQL Server instance. But you can also connect to the remote SQL Server machines. And down at the bottom, you will see various other options such as databases, security, server objects, and all the other things. Don't worry about all these options as of now. We will cover as and when we encounter these options. And on the top, you will have other options such as file, edit, view, debug, tools, window, and help. So let's begin writing the queries using DDL statements. What we will do is we will create a database using SQL Server Management Studio using the facilities provided by the SQL Server, and then we will create a database using a SQL Server script. So let's first create a database using the SQL Server Management Studio. So all you have to do is just click on the databases option and explore or expand the databases folder. Then you need to right click on top of it, select new database. Now it is asking for the database name and owner. Owner is the one who has all the admin rights for that database, and by default it gives you the default option. So we will type in the database name as first, I'm sorry for the caps, first. So we will type in the database name as first DB. As we are using the SSMS for creating this database, we will type in SSMS. And you can see at the bottom there are two databases. It gives you the option of database files. So you need to understand that database, whenever we create a database on any machine, two files get created. One is a log file and the other one is a database file. Log file generally consists of information of all the operations that are applied on top of the database, whereas the main database file, we call it as MDF. I mean, you can do a Google search on this if you want to study more on it. But as of now, just think or just keep in mind that the MDF is a file which contains the actual data. So after we have typed in the database name, all we have to do is click on OK, and you will get to know whether the database was created successfully or not. So it didn't encounter any error, so that means the database was created successfully. As you can see on your screen, it says first DB SSMS. Now we will, as I told you earlier, now we will create a database using a SQL script. Now in order to write a SQL script, what you have to do is you just need to click on new query option. It will open a window for you. On the right side you will see various other options of properties. Let's not go into details because this can be misleading or it can create confusions in your mind as of now. So you are into the SQL Server window which helps you write queries, and this option that you see on top is for selecting a database. So when you click on this drop down, it will give you all the options of various databases that are hosted in the SQL Server. So it has the first DB SSMS database that we have just created, and there are some system databases and there are some report server databases. So let's create a database. So the command to write the database is very simple. Let me write it first and then I'll explain it to you. Okay, so this is the command to write or create a database, that is create database name. So we have given the name as first DB SQL and then followed by Go. Now Go is used to separate scripts so that each script or a bunch of scripts act as an independent entity. So for example, if we have another statement here and we write go and another statement here and then again we write go, then if you encounter an error of say in the third one or the last statement, even then the first two statements will be executed because all these statements or bunch of SQL queries are independent of each other. So coming back to creating the database, what you need to type is create database and then followed by a database name. Now notice that the create database and go commands appear in blue color, whereas the first DB SQL appears in black. Now why it is so? It's because these are create database go are the SQL words, or we call it as SQL keywords, and that is why they are blue in color. Whereas if you write anything that is of user based type, that will be black in color. Now sometimes there would be a need to create a table that might be a SQL keyword. In that case, what you can do is you can enclose that keyword into a bracket and that keyword will no longer be a SQL keyword. Let me give you an example. So suppose I want to create a database with the help of suppose I want to create a database and give it a name as database itself. It will be something like this. Now you can see this database is not highlighted in blue color, so that means it is a user defined word. Now let's go ahead and execute both of these statements and let's see what happens. So you got the message at the bottom part of your screen that the commands completed successfully. This is the window which will give you an idea of whether the script was successful or not, whether it encountered any error. If there are errors, it will throw you the error name or the error ID along with some small descriptions. And also another useful thing that you can use in order to check the syntax whether you have written it correctly or not is a little tick mark on the top part of your screen. So if you click this, it gives you the message that the commands completed successfully. That means there is nothing wrong in the script that you have just written. So here you go, you have the first DB or SQL created. So what we will do now is, in order to check whether this was created successfully or not, we will just click on the Object Explorer. Now as you can see, it is not showing as of now. So what we have to do is we have to refresh this folder if we want to see the other database objects. And you can see now it has created a database with the same name as database SQL keyword, and it also has created a database called first DB SQL. So in the next module, what we will be discussing is to create tables. So let's move to the next module.